everybody, my name is Chris, and this is my spoiler review for Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. So be warned, there will be 4 spoilers here. Now, the movie is now in theaters, so that means we can talk about full spoilers. Now, I want to start out by saying I absolutely love this film. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. I had high expectation for this film with how amazing the first one was, and I thought this one meet those expectations. I kind of wanted to go back and see a couple more times. Clearly, the animation was fantastic aspect of this movie. I love all the different art styles they were able to pull off here. Some I wasn't expecting to see. The music choices to me, not only in the soundtrack but the score, really brought things up. Whenever Miguel is chasing Miles, that intense music was awesome, and putting the visuals and Spider-Man Easter eggs and reference aside, was the story in here. It was a much serious story that I was expecting, really tackling and disconstructing a lot of those Spider-Man tropes, and someone who has loved the character for the longest, it was just so cool to see them take that as a story element and really put it front and center for the audience. Now, the opening of this film, it was so great. 50 to 20 minutes long before even the title even pops on screen, and really focusing on Gwen Stacy. And I love how they gave Haley Steinfeld's Gwen Stacy a lot more to do in here. She wasn't just the love interest to Miles Morales, just being there to flow up with him. The way they recap the events of the first movie where her drum and solo tag along with the animation, I was just kind of, this is beautiful. And even like how they expanded further her origin about becoming a Spider-Man, and then what happens to her Peter Parker of her universe. And we have a resolution to her story, because Across the Spiderverse is pretty much Gwen Stacy's movie also. There's a reason she's the beginning and the end of the movie. When to go back and see the film, notice Gwen Stacy is the first thing and last thing you see. And the movie opens up with her leaving her band, still feeling isolated in this world, revealing her identity to her father, and how all those issues cause her to run away from her problems into the Spider Society, where she just wants to stay there, not even care if she's ever goes back to her own universe. She's a spider person running away from her problems, avoiding her responsibilities. But by the end of the movie, her arc is complete. She finds her new band, that being some of the new and old friends she's made from the past 2 movies, getting ready to save Miles. She also reconciles her relationship up with her father and comes to peace with that. And she learns again what her responsibility as a spider person is. And I thought it was a wonderful resolution to her story. But after that long opening, we get to Miles Morales in here. And as we're in Miles' universe, I was not expecting how much time we're going to be spending with the family dynamic and with the struggle. And I thought it was, to me, maybe 1 or 2 scenes. And then Gwen comes in and boom, he's with the Spider Society. No, we were with Miles for a good almost hour of the movie, and I'm not complaining. I like that development. It is stuff that's gonna pay off in the next film. Across the Spider-Verse is very much laying the groundwork and doing all the heavy lifting, so Beyond the Spider-Verse can just gonna go crazy. But just some details when we were with Miles. I love whenever a movie can show us a Spider-Man fighting off some street level crime. That's always fun to me. There was even a moment in here where the movie gave Miles his own thinking spot. If you remember in No Way Home, when they were searching for Tom Holland's Spider-Man after her Aunt May died, Toby Maguire Spider-Man and the Garfields has their own thinking spot where they go, a place where they go and just gonna be by themselves. And I thought that was an a nice added touch to for Miles here. And while also doing a Miles part of the story, we get introduced to the Spa. This is where I definitely want to talk about this villain, because I think to when they first introduced the Spa is going to be like the villain, I was thought, oh, that's cool, but I was thinking, well, he's probably going to be like a secondary villain, but no, he's like the big villain. And for the next one, Miles called him like the villain of the week. They're just like an annoyance more than an actual threat, and the Spot really took offense to that. And he's like, you think I'm a villain of the week? You think I'm not threatening? I'm going to show you how threatening I can be. And progressively, although this was like a very jokey, funny villain voiced by Jason Schwartzman, who did a fantastic job. I like how they kind of subverted expectation, took someone you didn't really think it was much of a villain, but that expansion of his powers and what they're going to be capable of made them and a very big threat. And I like his origins, from someone who we saw like into the Spider-Verse, like in the background for just a few seconds, and he's like the scientist that he brought the spider that beeps Miles. And I love how they explain of that. I think that it was handled very well. Now I definitely want to talk about some of the new Spider-Man characters in here. Now, starting off with Spider-Man, Indian Spider-Man, Pavanka. How he was a lot of fun. I love the energy and vibrancy of his world, the way he was picking fun out of Miles and Gwen's relationship in here. He just instantly became very likable member of the Spiderverse, and he was very happy. But then the movie introduced those kind of events, and his Spider-Man had not gone to the tragedy that most Spider people had gone to. So his life was kind of perfect as Spider-Man. He's supposed to go to that event when he loses a Captain Stacy in his life. That's a kind of event that most people go to. I love how Miguel O'Hara was explaining those kind of events. We got those cameo of Andrew Garfield front and center. Of my favorite moment in that Amazing Spider-Man movie when he loses his Captain Stacy, and they use that as an example there. And even the death of Uncle Ben is another kind of event that a lot of Spider people go to, showing off Tobey Maguire's footage. And it was so awesome the way they use those footage and make it fit into the narrative of this animated movie. The character that was a standout is a Spider Punk in here. Also, Hobie Brown. His animation style alone was so cool, and the way he had like just changing every couple of seconds, but right away he never really felt like being part of this Spider society, and then deciding like to take the side of Miles and realizing that he's just in the situation that we need to be able to save as many people as we can. It makes sense for the character. Moving to Miguel O'Hara in here, I think they did a great job of explaining why he's so angry at Miles and why he really wants to stop him. The story they gave him in here, that he discovered the multiverse and he found a universe where a version of him died, so he went and decided to replace that version of himself in there where he has a family, a daughter, but he technically never supposed to sit in that world, so it ends up crumbling and destroying that universe. And then that's his reasoning for why these kind of events are things that need to happen whether you like it or not, because it means a whole universe can die. And when they inform Miles that in 2 days his dad is going to die, Miles, and it's a canon the Miles want to stop that, and it's a canon event that is unavoidable and needs to happen. And if you try to stop it, it could mean your universe could collapse and die. And I think it was a bit strange that so many people in that society just went along with it. Even for Peter B. Parker in here, that I love seeing him again. I'm glad he's a father now. I love those little interactions with Mayday, and how he's one of those annoying people who always want to show you a picture and talk about the kid. It's just so good, and I like that. And I was thinking how Peter B. Parker be just okay by just letting Miles that die. I think it was a lot easy for the other Spider people in the room to just go along with, because they already went to those tragic events. They already lost. They respected Uncle Ben, they respected Gwen Stacy or Captain Stacy, and they knew those tragic events is what shaped them to be a better Spider-Man and to save more people later on. Now I want to talk about some of the Easter eggs and cameos, and I'm not going to talk about all of them because there are a lot of them and will be here all day, but just to spotlight some of my favorites here. Now I'm so glad the spectacular Spider-Man actually got some dialogue in this movie. Also PlayStation Spider-Man, or like he got like one little line in there, from the game and the Insomnium games, and it was so phenomenal to see him in this film. And we also got a Lego Spider-Man universe. Was unexpected but really funny. It was great. Also, they threw in voice clips of J.K. Simmons, they of Jonah Jameson, and that made me smile a lot. The biggest Easter egg that blew my mind, and I was so happy to see, is Donald Glover as the Prowler showing up his NCU character. At least I hope that's the NCU Prowler. And of course, in Spider-Man Homecoming, he plays Uncle Aaron, Miles' uncle, the Prowler. Where at one point there's an event, even an Easter egg saying his alias is the Prowler in that universe, and they have him in the full live action Prowler costume. Let me tell you, it looks very sweet. Now talking about the very end of Across the Spider-Verse. So when Miles is done getting chased by hundreds to thousands of spider people, and pretty crazy that Miles was able to evade all of them. Even he's like 1-to-1 with Miguel, and his speech he gave them before he chops up his suit. I was like, oh, that's just a sweet moment. He jumps into the scanning device that looks at his DNA and sends him to his correct universe, but because he was bitten by a Spider-Man from a different universe, the machine accidentally sent him to that universe instead, Earth 42. And I should have known something was up. The minute he got into that world, like the animation style was very different from early on in the film, and like I didn't remember his universe looking like this, and maybe it was because it was darker, the neon lights, and then Miles goes to what he thinks is his bedroom and reveals to his mother, Spider-Man, and she's like, what's a Spider-Man? And he's in a universe where Spider-Man doesn't say, but because a shocking reveal doesn't end there. The Prowler, his uncle, is alive, and his uncle isn't the Prowler, but instead is this was Miles Morales, who is the Prowler. And that's kind of where the movie ends up, setting up Miles has to fight an evil version of himself, where his dad is also there in this universe, and instead looks like Miles was raised by his uncle and mother. And man, I love the ending. I was so sad it ended right there. I needed more of it. So for Beyond the Spider-Verse, looks like when Stacy runs up a group of people who believe in the cause, that we can just let someone who we love die, because that's a kind of event. We're supposed to be the good guys, and if we can save somebody, we're going to do that. And the team is also looking great. I was kind of sad we didn't get a lot of Spider Noir and Spider Ham in this movie, but it looks like we're definitely going to get them in the next one, because they are part of the new team, along with in the Spider-Man, Spider-Man Punk, and Spider-Man Bye, and virtual reality Spider-Person and Penny Parker, who looks way more accurate than her first iteration of the comics. Now, I really wish Scarlet Spider-Man was able to join this team, because he was so cool. His design in this movie is insane. Now, the question is, how is they going to resolve this? Because if they save Miles Dance in his universe, could collapse, and what I think is going to happen in Beyond the Spider-Verse is that Miles is going to come to turn to, yes, he's going to eventually like let his dad die, whether he like it or not, because of evil Miles Morales. That version of him is a perfect example of where tragic events sometimes need to happen to spider people. Maybe I'm sounding crazy here, but it looks like that's the way. He didn't have his father to raise him, show him his rope, and teach him about responsibility. Instead, he was raised by his uncle Aaron. That might be Miles' overarching thing in the next movie. So, who knows? Maybe we get Tom Holland here, because. I feel there was a lack of Tom Holland Spider-Man cameos or reference here, because there was just that reference early in the movie of Miguel mentioning the events of like No Way Home, of that Tom Holland Spider-Man Doctor Strange, the disruptive like in the multiverse, and there were no footage of Tom Holland Spider-Man in this movie. And with all of this multiverse, it's possible that they can do that. So we'll see. They're also making a live action Miles Morales. So I hope they done that great and justice, because it's hard to compete like with these animated films. So who knows, maybe by the end of the next one, this Miles will go to a new universe where it's live actions. So we have to see and find out. I think there are a lot of possibilities and things they can do. I just love this movie so much, and I'm really excited for the next chapter. So that's my spoiler review for Across the Spider-Verse. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and thank you so much for watching. See you guys later. Bye bye.